So 90% of the time when they show animated films to film critics, it's on a Saturday morning. There's different ways to show a film critic a movie to review. Either it's a press screening where there's, a big theater with only 10 of us in there. I'm talking about Las Vegas, I'm sure the bigger markets, LA, New York, and Texas. All those other markets have, a lot more critics, a lot more journalists. But I'm talking about Las Vegas. So if we see a press screening, maybe there's 5, 6 people in there, 10 at the most. And if we see a promotional screening, that's one where you get tickets from the radio station, the television station, or the newspaper that give out tickets, and they pack the place, and we have our little press row that we go see. But most of the time, those are during the week. But a movie like Angry Birds, we're going to see on a Saturday morning, so all the kids can come and all the families can come, and that's fine. That's fine. So first of all, when you see Angry Birds, just make sure you bring the Advil, because after the movie, I already took 2 of these. You're going to need this. You're going to need this. Why so angry is what Angry Birds asks. A lot of reasons to be angry about Angry Birds. First of all, we all know it's a famous app on a telephone, on a phone. I've seen it played before. I am not familiar with Angry Birds at all. I've seen someone play it before. How could you not know in pop culture, and especially if you're a techie, not knowing about what Angry Birds is, and that's fine. That's fine. So, of course, there's a built-in audience for Angry Birds, kids, gamers, whatever. There's a demand for it, as you could probably say. So they create this movie, trying to find out that next, franchise that they can do. And, I really don't know what the game's about. I just know that someone told me that pigs steal eggs and the birds fight back. And some of the birds have abilities. They can blow up. They can do all these different kind of effects. Sounds like a great idea for a phone, for an app, for a game. Absolutely. It's a phenomenon. It really is. So in the movie, they essentially have no story. They have no story. I'm sitting there watching this thing for an hour and a half. It has a premise, pigs show up, steal the eggs, the birds go. I mean, it's essentially what the game is, right? And you have top star talent doing the voices. You have Jason Sudeikis doing Red, who's this reject in the community of birds on Bird Paradise Island, or whatever the hell it's called. And he's got to go to anger management classes because if you get him angry, the famous eyebrows, And then he's got other characters in there too. Danny McBride, it does the voice of Bomb, this bird that just explodes when he gets mad. And then you have Chuck, voiced by Josh Gad, who's probably the funniest character in the movie, if you can say that, who's really fast. He can just do things that are fast. He's a fast talker, really funny. There's a great Quicksilver tribute, from the X-Men that's in there. It's really funny. So let me look at my notes because I just got such a headache from this movie. I can't even read what I wrote. Let me put these on. If you know my channel, I do this a lot. There's just no story. I said that, loot the eggs. I said that. I introduced all the characters. People think I exaggerate. The kids were bored. They really were. Sometimes when I'm sitting in a movie, if it's a comedy or whatever, and I think, wait a minute, is there something wrong with me? Do I look around? Am I the only one not getting what's happening up on the screen? And when this movie started, the energy was crazy. It's Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and kids are going nuts and they're filled with sugar and they're sitting next to me and the popcorn and the Slurpees are going and everything at the AMC Theater, Town Square in Las Vegas. Great theater, by the way. They were bored. They were not laughing. I mean, I had my friend with me, but next to me there was I think there was a 12-year-old and looked like an 8-year-old, and they were bouncing everywhere. And I kept looking over through my, forgot this part. I kept looking over to see, I'm looking at them, and they're just sitting there when they stand up and turn away from the screen, when they go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times, when, they sit there and they're not looking at the screen, their attention is not being kept on the big screen. Also, Bill Hader, forgot to mention him, who's one of my idols, by the way, does the voice of the pig king that comes over. Just wanted to mention Bill Hader. I think he's a genius. I love him. Also, Peter Dinklage does this bald eagle character, the mighty eagle that they admire. And I'll leave him up like that. Oh, my God. I didn't know if I was going to do this review right away. I just saw the movie, and I'm busy this afternoon. I thought, I'm going to get this out of the way. And let me look what else I wrote. Right back. The last act of the movie, the fans are telling me of the game. It's literally the game, the mechanics of the game. The birds go to Pig Island or whatever the heck it's called, and they just start destroying this town. They're shooting them through a slingshot, which is the game, the mechanics of the game. It just makes no sense, the whole last act. And it's just jokes, guys. It's one gag after another. One joke, fart joke, burp joke, kids, knee-jerk reaction to that kind of stuff. Even that wears off, There's such better examples out there of animated films. And the jokes go over the heads of all the kids. There's a lot of jokes that are just inappropriate. I thought, wow, the movie's kind of like simple and, you know, and then all of a sudden there's some real risque kind of humor in there. I'm like, wow, that was inappropriate. It wasn't funny. The adults weren't laughing. I mean, after we're coming off of Kung Fu Panda 3 this year and Inside Out and even Zootopia. I mean, brilliant. I went into Zootopia thinking, oh my God, a little bunny who's a police officer, I'm just going to scream. I'm not, and it turned out to be one of my favorite films in a long time. I love Zootopia. So I came into Angry Birds thinking, okay, it's not going to be a masterpiece. It'll somewhat entertain. I know it's based on a video game, a phone game, or whatever the heck you want to call it. And but just then, it just had no plot. Could Red maybe have a girlfriend? Could we have some sort of other story going on? Not a complicated one. Just give me a couple ideas. Yes, he has to go to anger management. Then the pigs come right in. It's an hour and a half of one side gag after another. And when things really get bad, they do dance videos. It seems like they just throw in Black Sabbath or a montage. They just throw it right in there. And you're like, oh my gosh, another musical number. Oh my gosh, more dancing and the pigs' little butts in your face. And the kids aren't even laughing that anymore. After the third or fourth time, they're not laughing. It looks great. The animation always goes without, you know, total professional. Just the story. It's like, how many story meetings do they have about this? And the 3D, I literally kept these off 80% of the movie because it wasn't necessary. Angry Birds. Remember, bring the Advil. 2. That's all you need. It's just 2. All right, for more reviews and interviews, just surf on over to my website at vegasfilmcritic.com. Check out my podcast on iTunes. If you like what you see, and I hope you do, comment below, subscribe, share, thumbs up. I'm Jeffrey K. Howard. I'm deleting my Angry Birds game right now. I don't have it. See you next time.